They play some good football, have a lot of Division I prospects.
Watch his heels if you can, because his heels would have been out of bounds. He stays on his tiptoes.
He did a little Michael Jackson.
Absolute. Oh, that.
Catch that, son.
Come on.
There's a reason why he's a DB.
Oh, that's great.
All right, also in California, this time in the Bay Area, Tennyson High School's Jacoby Harris cannot be stopped. Goes down as an 80-yard run, but he ran a lot more than that.
He gets out of that?
Yeah.
He gets out of that? Oh, that's good now. That's good now. It ain't great defense. That's good now. I mean, the guy ran 150 yards on this play.
At least.
I mean, 30 yards to the far side of the field, another 50 back to the close side of the field. Look at that.
All right, finally in the CFL, Ottawa's R.J.Harris keeping his concentration after juggling the ball before scoring the touchdown.
Oh, good game against Saskatchewan. Good catch here. Concentration. Tips it to himself. You only get one catch for that one. I used to try to tell my coach, hey, coach, can you give me 2 on that one?
Is he stealing Duran's celebration? He's playing Duran's team.
That's what they did it. Duran's on Toronto now.
Oh, my
Saskatchewan. That's what their celebration. So he was kind of mocking them in their home face.
Their team.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the Magic in Tampa Bay. I know we're just 2 games into the season, but Ryan Fitzpatrick has statistically been the best quarterback in the NFL thus far. He has also led the Bucs to 2 wins over playoff teams from last year, with the Steelers up next. So what do you do when starter Jameis Winston returns? Wide receiver DeSean Jackson says they should continue to ride with Fitz.
Playing on fire right now, and the way the team is rallying behind him and just playing, lights out football. You have to kind of honor it. You know what I'm saying? You can't take the hot man out. He got the hot fire right now. It's like NBA Jam. We used to play NBA Jam when we was younger. Whoever got that hot fire shot, you got to keep shooting, man. So, it's not my decision, but I'm sure they'll, Dirk and Coach Monken, them guys that makes them call, I'm sure they'll, let them stay on fire till, that fire's out. But I think we going to stay on fire, man. That's our job, to go out there and stay on fire, and that's what we're going to do.
I was thinking to myself, it's just like NBA Jam. Yeah. Back when I used to play it, it's the exact same thing. Does DeSean Jackson have a point? You stick with the hot hand at this point, even though your number 1 starter's coming back?
If he keeps the fire, to use the analogy, then there's no question. If Ryan Fitzpatrick has a 3rd straight excellent game, whether they win or lose Monday night, then they're...
And it doesn't have to be 400 yards, 4 touchdowns
but if he has a 3rd straight excellent game, then 100% you stick with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'll go a step further than DeSean went. Even if he loses that fire hot hand, unless he has an awful game, unless it's like what we saw at the end of the season, actually, the year he had the Jets at 10-5, and has a game where multiple turnovers, including red zone turnovers, and he's the reason you lose, then I still think you stick with Ryan Fitzpatrick. And by the way, just because the NFL decided to take it easy on Jameis Winston to a degree with only a 3-game suspension does not mean the Tampa Bay Bucs have to. And it does not mean that they have to treat his suspension due to an alleged sexual assault the same way you treat an injury, which is guy, you don't lose a job due to injury. Well, sometimes you lose a job to suspension. Sometimes you lose your job permanently due to suspension. So for football reasons, and non-football reasons, unless Fitzpatrick has an awful game on Monday night, I think he's your week 4 starter.
Now, one thing we should know, Jameis had a tremendous training camp. He's trying to make some adjustments. I'm in frequent contact with Derek Brooks, who's been mentoring of another Florida State graduate, NFL Hall of Famer, who's associated with the program and has done a lot of things with Jameis. So this is going to be a big year for Jameis regardless. We had these expectations on Tampa Bay and Jameis last year. All the experts said, Tampa Bay is going to be the team this year. A lot like we were talking about San Francisco. All right, before the season, that was Tampa last year. Now the offense, because of the weapons, and they're able to spread the ball around because of Fitzy, they've put up these unbelievable numbers. The numbers speak for themselves. And if Jameis, in his first 3 seasons as a starting quarterback, if he had separated himself, if he had questionable leadership, then we wouldn't be talking about Fitzy. We'd be talking about a quarterback who was really hot, who was getting ready to go back to the bench. But no. Jameis came into this season with a lot of questions. Is he the face of the franchise moving forward? Is he a guy that you can actually trust with being the face of the franchise? Do you give him $100 million next year? So Fitzy serves a purpose being there. Is he going to be able to continue playing this way? Absolutely not. Just as quick as he threw 4 touchdowns, he can throw 4 interceptions, and Jameis is going to have to be ready. But as long as he's hot, they have to go with the hot hand. And to me, it's got to be week to week. And that's what Fitzy has proven. He has not proven you can give him a month. Say, you know, we'll give you another month, and then you can, whatever, regardless of what you do, no, because Fitzy can throw you out of the game the way he's thrown the ball very, very effective in these first 2 weeks.
What if he takes you a couple weeks into the season and now you're wondering, well, we got to see what we have in Jameis Winston if we want to make big financial decisions about him for our future, but we also have a guy who's a journeyman who may not be the face of the future with this organization. I mean, how do you reconcile both?
Marlo Stanfield, that'd be one of them good problems, but I don't anticipate they're going to be faced with the problem of, man, Fitzpatrick has rolled together 8 straight games where he hasn't lost us one. How are we going to get Jameis back in the lineup? That would be totally different than any stretch of football Ryan Fitzpatrick played at any point in his career. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick will open the door back up for Jameis Winston because, as you mentioned and as C alluded to, that contract decision is a major one. This is the last year of his rookie deal. Now, they have that 5th-year option. But because he was a top 10 pick, that 5th-year option for him is $21 million. And typically, if you like your quarterback, you don't let them play out their 5th-year option. This is the time they would get the long-term extension. Now, Jameis, because of the off-the-field stuff, not to mention the hot and cold nature of some of his on-the-field play, they might be able to put off that extension. Like, we need to see you play better and stay clean off the field. But it is still the major decision facing this franchise. We had the number 1 overall pick. We drafted a guy who got better statistically year 1 to year 2. Year 3 was something of a mixed bag, better rating, fewer touchdowns. Like, year 4 is the year that determines, are we in the quarterback market again, or do we have the guy that we thought we had when we drafted number 1 overall? I believe, my gut tells me at some point Jameis gets back on the field, and what will determine, I think, if he is the guy, is can he recreate this downfield passing with Fitzpatrick and with DeSean Jackson and Mike Evans that Fitzpatrick has created himself?
Yeah, I think the downfield passing is a small part of it because you don't get 400 yards passing in back-to-back weeks by just throwing deep passes. I mean, he has too many completions. He's made good reads. When he was in a bad play, he was able to get out of that bad play by either throwing the ball away, throwing to a check down, or a hot receiver. So in watching him play a couple times, I'm getting ready for the Saints game. So I saw how he carved up the Saints. I saw how when they left the middle of the field open, the same way Philadelphia did to start the game, he took advantage of it. So he wasn't playing conservative. I've seen something like this before, and that was when Randall Cunningham came out of retirement. Brad Johnson hurt his thumb, I think, early in the season, and Randall caught fire. And every show, every commentator was like, oh, he's going to come back down to earth. Randall Cunningham has never played this good. Can he sustain this? Everybody's like, no, there's no way. And Randall rolled that thing all the way through the regular season, being MVP, and rolled it into the playoffs till we made it to the NFC Championship game. So I have personally seen this before, who's someone who hadn't been able to do it for a long period of time. So do I think he's going to do it? It don't matter. He just got to do it for one more week. That's what he's on. You're on it week to week, Fitzy. This week's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Play the best football, give your team a chance to win. That defense is giving up an awful lot of points, too. So you can't just do it on winning games. How does the quarterback play, and does the quarterback put you in position to win?
And keep in mind the 2 teams that Ryan Fitzpatrick beat were the Saints and the Eagles. With the Steelers coming up, those are 3 very tough games to open the season. All right, take a break. Coming up, did everybody jump on the Deshaun Watson bandwagon a little too soon?